Hi there, my name is Wayne Hedlund with Wayne Hedlund Consulting. In this video tutorial, we're going to talk about dependencies, in particular, how dependencies can be utilized or leveraged well when it comes to connecting them to a parent task with subtasks. And so this video is focusing specifically on some cool things that we can do when we connect subtasks to parent tasks. And we're going to talk about how to combine that with the task template feature so that we can create a repeatable flow of work that we can use over and over and over again and quickly and easily set a due date for those various task templates and keep the subtasks due dates rolling up to that parent task in a meaningful way. So first of all, if you have not explored or experimented with dependencies, or if you're not fully comfortable with them yet, I have created a different video where I kind of spend a little bit more time focusing on dependencies, what they are, how to set them up, some different use cases for dependencies, etc. So you might want to consider watching that video first before you dive into this one. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started and talk about dependencies as they're associated, first of all, with subtasks. Now, I have created a couple of tasks here, very simple, just for demonstration purposes. Board slideshow delivered and submit quarterly report. You'll see that each of these have 4 subtasks associated with them. And of course, the way subtasks are meant to be used is we are creating a series of actionable tasks, in this case, that roll up to this date. So the date for our board slideshow is on the 25th. So prior to the 25th, we have a number of things that need to happen. And incidentally, best practice for subtasks, the vast majority of time, we do not want to have subtasks that go beyond the due date of the parent task. So in this case, the parent task is on the July 25th. So it really would not be appropriate for me to have a subtask that's due on the 28th. Because that would kind of break the flow of what we're trying to do. All these things should most of the time be done prior to um, our parent task. So we'll go ahead and put that back on the 24th. And so the first thing I need to do is set some dependencies for these, because the dependencies are where the power comes in when it comes to trying to manage, in particular, not just those dependencies of who's doing what, when, and where, and what's blocking what, but it also is set up so that we can utilize this to establish or change dates quickly and easily for just one task. So I'm going to pop over to the Gantt view, and we're going to very quickly go ahead and set the dependencies using this view because it's the quickest. So here are my 4 subtasks. I'm going to go ahead and very quickly establish some sequential subtasks here. I've also taken this last task and made it so that it's blocking our parent task. Sometimes I'll see people who will actually do this for all the tasks. And what they're doing here, what I'm doing here, it looks like a jumbled mess, but I basically have said, hey, listen, you cannot deliver the board slideshow until all of these tasks get done first. This one's a little bit of a garbledy-gook mess. It's not usually always necessary. We're going to go ahead and just make this one a little bit more basic. Again, this task is going to be dependent on this one, and this one, and this one. And then this last task will make it blocking to block the parent task. Now, keep in mind, for what I'm about to show you, you do need to make sure that every single one of these subtasks are either dependent on one another and or dependent in one way or another on that parent task, or what I'm about to show you will not work super well. All right, so we've established some dependencies here. We can pop over here and say view, and we can see using our blocked by and blocking how each of these are blocking one another. It all looks pretty good. I'm also going to pop over and make sure that in my project dependency settings that I have maintain buffer set up. And in this case, I'm going to set it up for all dependent tasks. I'm going to save changes. And now I have, in essence, allowed myself to be able to very quickly and easily adjust the dates. So if I take the date for this parent task right here, and let's say I want to move it back to the 21st, Asana is going to go ahead, and if we open that up, we'll see Asana went ahead and moved all of those other tasks with it, right? So everything's looking good. One of them's red because it's overdue. We'll pop that over 1, and I can see that Asana is also switching weekends because I have it set up to do that. So everything is functioning the way I want to. I can do the same thing over here with this task. So really, really meaningful, helpful. Just helps us make sure that all of our tasks are flowing well and connected to one another. Now, I will mention as well, though, another important comment here is if for some reason someone decides to add a new task in here, new task, okay, something else that needs to be done. And maybe we're going to say that one needs to be done on the 24th as well. Because I've not set that dependency for that task, because that task is not dependent on anything, if we do decide to start shifting dates, that task is going to be kind of a lone island. It's going to be all by itself. So if we want what we're showing you right here to continue to work, we do need to make sure that we keep everything dependent on one another in one way or another. So keep that in mind. So with that in mind now, let's kind of combine this now with task templates. And this is, in my opinion, kind of one of the coolest things that we can do. So here we are, we have launch backyard rocket, right? So I'm going to show you how to convert this into a task template and then how to use it over and over and over again and being able to set it up in a meaningful way when it comes to our timeline. I'm going to pull in a calendar view and set this to show us by month. I'm going to filter out incomplete tasks and maybe pop in here the layout and let's show the weekends. Just kind of clean this up a little bit. All right. So with that in mind, you'll see that I've already actually created my first task template. Open your very own lemonade stand. If I open that up right there, Asana is going to plop it in here. And I told Asana to put it down in here to task templates. The dependencies are already set up. And as soon as this comes in here, it just kind of randomly selected, in many ways, it seems random, a due date of July 30th. And that's because I told Asana, hey, I threw kind of the ball out ahead a few days and said, let's make this the date for that task. And let's go ahead and roll those other subtasks back like we showed you up here. And so now, again, not a problem. I can come over here and say, hey, actually, I need to change the date for this to the 1st. Asana's going to go ahead and say, are you sure you want to change the date to the 1st? Yep, I am. And Asana's going to roll all those up in that way. So again, it's very similar to what we've already done. I've already got the dates established. I'm going to pop over to the Gantt view and quickly set up the rhythm. Now, I'm going to show you about this rhythm, something that I think you're going to find is going to be super important. So we're going to launch our backyard rocket, let's say a day later. So we're going to go ahead and set these um, dependencies up like we've done before. And everything is kind of flowing kind of nice and neat and nifty. And just for the demonstration purposes, I'm going to go ahead and remove this one here, get rid of it. And so what we're going to do now that we've kind of set this up is we're going to convert this into a task template by opening the details pane, clicking convert to task template, right? Asana is going to kind of gray that out. In this case, it got grayed out. Now, I happen to know that task template, there's my launch backyard rocket. I'm going to go in and set one little thing that I know is just going to make this a little bit nicer. And that is I'm going to make sure that it rolls into where did it go? I've got so many different ones here. I lost track. So, task templates right there. So I want to make sure Asana, when it creates that task template, it automatically pops it into the section that I have created. So now watch what happens when I pull in that launch backyard rocket. And in particular, what I want to show you is watch what happens if I want to launch the backyard rocket, let's say every Friday. So I want to launch the backyard rocket for the next 5 weeks. I want to do it every Friday each week. Now, most of us aren't going to work to launch backyard rockets, but what we are going to work to do is perhaps publish a post on our blog, or we're going to do a webinar or various other things, and we might have a bunch of subtasks that help us manage that work. In this case, I created as a task template. I'd set some kind of random due dates that as long as the subtasks roll up to the parent task, I don't care about that date. So watch what happens now when I pop in here and say launch backyard rocket, launch backyard rocket, let's do one more and one more. I said I wanted to do 5. Asana is going to kind of create the task for each one of these. And initially you might go, well, this isn't super helpful because they're all happening on August the 9th. No worries, because I've already set everything up with the dependencies. Now I can very quickly and easily come in here and say, actually, this one's going to be on the 29th, and this one's going to be on the 22nd. This one's going to be the 15th, the 8th, and the 1st, right? So now I've got all of those tasks are flowing the way I want them to flow. I can see them all right here, launch backyard rocket, launch backyard rocket. But not only that, because we set things up the way that we're supposed to, all of those task due dates for the subtasks are all rolling up to each of those individual deliverables, as it were, in a way that they're supposed to. All right, so everything is functioning the way that we need it to, and it's one of the most powerful things about connecting subtasks with tasks in a way that allows us to move dates around by using this dependency feature. Okay, that's what I wanted to share with you. Hopefully you found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great, great day.